This is Rock Leach with Social Fire. Well, we've got a first lady here in a video that we're going to react to. Looks like there was a prophetess that tried to come for her husband, and she wasn't having it. Now, this lends to other questions, several other questions that we've got to look into. And we're going to get into it because there's a lot going on here that we've got to get into. And it really gives us a reflection into how church is operating today when it comes to this. We're going to talk about it. Y'all know here we're going to talk about it. And it's going to get real. I hope y'all ready for it. Let's go. I have to say this starting out from this video is that sometimes people will call foolishness the anointing. I'm just going to say that from the get-go. People will label foolishness the anointing and want to do any old kind of thing, even being appropriate with a man and his wife, or or a woman being sensitive on another end, or being inappropriate, or a man being inappropriate. We got to stop this foolishness. I'll never forget, and I'm going to go into this video right here. I'll never forget, I was at a church being a guest speaker, and I went to the back with the pastor. They had a banquet hall, and we went back there, and they had some food that was prepared. I never forget the ladies who were doing the serving and different things like that. One came up to the table where I, the pastor, my wife, and his wife were, and the lady was just bragging and adjusting his plate, the pastor's plate, because she said, I know how my pastor like his food, and he like this and he like that, and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And I was just sitting there like, oh, will you stop with this, please? Woman stop. And the other ladies thought that it was funny that they were doing that or whatever. And I didn't say anything, but in my heart, I was hoping that the pastor would just step up and say, hey, listen, I appreciate your serving the house of God, but nobody knows me like my wife. I'm just going to say that. But many times these kind of things happen. And what goes even further is that pastors fall victim because they have this kind of service that goes on, but it doesn't stop at the church. When you allow that spirit to keep going, they're going to try to, I'm just saying, and you got these first ladies out here, because what happened many times is these churches will give the pastor fine china and then give the first lady paper plates. Let's just keep it a buck around here, 100, like the young folks say. That's what happened. And you got folks, the churches are full of single ladies. I get it. And then sometimes I can't blame these first ladies who just turn into gangsters. I wish a woman would come at me and my husband. I get it. And then sometimes they're overprotective and stuff like that. But we don't know what have happened that have led to them having to be in this light. And so let's go ahead and get into this video right here and take a look at what's going on. And then we're going to talk about it some more. And I hope y'all ready for this. Let's go.
Speak of hell. It was hell. I never knew I could go through so much hell, Trina. It was hell. The woman from Atlanta that tried to come in between me and my husband. This woman says she's a prophetess. And she got a word from my husband. I said, no, you ain't got a word for him. You got a word for us. Natasha Davis.
Now, I don't agree with her calling out the lady's name. I know some of y'all gonna be like, yep, that's right. You from some of y'all that's from the streets. I know y'all saints from the streets, like her name need to be, if she came and tried to do this, I know some of y'all gonna be like that, but that's not etiquette. That's not pulpit etiquette. You shouldn't do that, to call out her name like that. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I went and looked the lady up. I had to see what in the world was going on here. And I just noticed her following grew probably around the time that this this woman of God right here put her out there. But let's be real. What is this fueled by? It is not uncommon for a female prophet to come into a ministry and what if God gives her something authentic? And it is a word for the leader of that ministry, which is the husband. Many times, if it's a pastor and wife, and the pastor is the male, this happens. This can happen, and that don't mean that she necessarily is after your husband. Now, the thing that fuels this with me is, have he already done something, and then you're already sensitive about what he probably has the potential to fall victim to again? I'm just saying, y'all got to look at it real. Let's just go ahead and keep it real. Let's go.
I told you, I'm not your typical first lady. This first lady fight. And if I catch you in the street, I warned you. I warned you. I'm a Brooklyn chick. That'll never change. I'm just an anointed Brooklyn chick. And I'm coming for that ass.
Okay. Listen, First Lady got them hands. You know, I'm from Brooklyn. I got the, don't let me, don't do it. Don't, y'all better leave First Lady alone. I don't know. Listen, okay, now that I'm done laughing at this, this is the problem that I see with this. Whenever you allow this level of articulation and passion to come out in front of your congregation, you're indirectly telling the women that it's okay to fight. It's okay, instead of getting on your knees and taking it to God and taking your burdens to the Lord and leave them there, put your burdens in your hands, girl, and put the, you know. Okay, I said I was done. I said I was done playing. It's like, you know, you listen. Some people are not afraid to cry, and then there are another group of people that's not afraid to make you cry. We understand that God have delivered us from where we come from, but we shouldn't revert back to yesterday just because it's convenient now, just because it's a little harder to trust God and help and expect him to take care of it. We want to go and put our hands on somebody. This is not ministry. This is not how ministry is done. But in these days, in this day and age, you got a lot of things that are going on. I don't know, and I'm just wanting to believe that there had to be more to this than what's said up here. There had to be more to this than what we see on the screen there, because you know, to say you coming after that, you know, behind, you coming after her tail, is a little strong, and that's not a good look. That's not bringing honor. I believe that it has to be honor brought to the marriage both ways, the husband and the wife, and I just don't believe that this was honorable. I don't even know this church, but I know this video, and many people will know this church now because she that pastor that's gangsta out here. See that pastor out here in these streets, and you're gonna end up drawing people who showing up to church strapped with weapons, showing up with shanks and going on because you already. I'm just saying, y'all don't do me like that. Y'all know this sent all kind of the wrong message. This did, and it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. But I'm praying for this couple because this type of thing does happen. Ladies, y'all got to be careful with your husbands. You got to be careful with them because you don't know who out here. And quit putting them out. You know, bruising these husbands up, putting them out. I had an old pastor that said, "You bruising them up, putting these husbands out, and this woman right outside with a Band-Aid." And so that's so anyway, I'm saying this. I don't know, and I'm praying for her because I felt a lot of hurt that's there. It's already hurt and vulnerability. And I'm questioning what that vulnerability is about. What's really going on there? Because I, you know, for a woman to get up and say that and then want to revert back to where she's from, I thought God delivered you from that Brooklyn chick. You know, we'll say it. We want to cuss, and I mean, the Brooklyn chick was up there on the stage. That's what was happening. Not God's delivered and redeemed on the stage. I'm just saying. And so I want to know ultimately, what do you all think about this? Because this really happened. And I want you also to talk about pastors and first ladies as it pertains to men being the pastor and the woman being the first lady, because a lot of time that happened, you know, this kind of thing happens. You get women in the church that get out of line when it comes to the pastor. And many times the pastor is the one that's allowing this foolishness. I right now have things that I will do and will not do because I don't need the image of it. I don't need no woman fixing me no plate. I don't need no woman bringing me no drink. I don't play with none of that. Why? Because it brings dishonor to my wife. And when I say bring dishonor to my wife, I don't want you all to think that I fear it. I just don't need it. I don't need it. I'm good. I open my own door. I wipe the sweat off my own head. I am just a man's man. That's who I am. And I don't play with that extra stuff. Don't play with me. And I'm going to tell you this, it's not about being fearful of my wife. That's my girl. And at the end of the day, I don't care whether y'all think I'm anointed or not. I got to be anointed at the house. Y'all not talking to me. Y'all not talking to me. I feel like church in here. And so pastors, please understand that sometime when you have a pastor who have low self-esteem and different things like that, he becomes addicted to those applause, and he has to have those applause, and then he winds up in an affair. winds up in an affair because he allowed it. And we've got to fight against these things. Pastor, sometimes you need to get away from these folk. Don't let people call you daddy and all that kind of stuff. This is some dangerous stuff that goes on in church. And for you know it, the pastor's caught up into some ignorant, and we've been seeing this the whole time. I'm just saying. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Get in the comments. Let's go.